Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the player ratings. Everton 0, Brentford 0. Another dreadful game to be at. I feel sorry for anyone who's been at Southampton, West Ham, and now that. 3 games, no goals for Everton in those 3 games, and pretty diabolical. Today, obviously, because they've gone down to 10 men, and we've had plenty of time. And it was just woeful today. Listen, I've said my bit in the last few weeks about my thoughts on the manager, and obviously today is just added to that. I'm not here to pile on at all in terms of trying to just get the manager out, but I watched that today, and the absolute, so the worst thing that could have happened, I think, for Dyche today was them getting a man sent off. I think that meant that we had to play on the front foot and we had to try and open them up, and that. But on the other side of that absolutely highlighted to me why he's not good enough to be the Everton manager. The naysayers out there, and I don't, there's still some out there because I've just seen them on social media. They'll say, well, the players are rubbish. Look what he's working with. My answer to that is, a manager, any manager, is given a job and is asked to improve the situation. So when Sean Dyche came into Everton, his job was to stop Everton from conceding goals, make us tighter and help us nick games of football. Right? He did that. He did it brilliantly, in fact. It wasn't nice to watch, but he did it. And now he's been asked to, in my opinion, do a bit more. I think the team's better than what it was when he first come in. And I think football has moved on a little bit as well. And also, the other side of that is football, or other football teams, I think it's the most basic of football. If they watch it and go, right, these score from set pieces, this is what they do with set pieces, this is what they do with this long ball, this is what they do with playing whatever, of course, they get wise to it. So even Dyche's tactics that work for him, people are wise to that now. People have got onto it. People fully understand how Everton play, and they are setting up differently. They're making sure that when we have set pieces, that we're not getting as much joy, and that's evident because Everton haven't had as much joy on set pieces this year. So teams are going, how do these play? And people have stopped us, and we've got no plan B. And plan A is so basic. It's not that hard to stop. And when people say, listen, people have every right to back the manager or whatever. When people say to me, it's the players. The manager's job is to improve the players and make every single player better, or make the system easier for them. So when anyone says it's the players, then it's the manager. It will always be the manager because it's his job. If a player's not working, you swap them out. Like today, for me, right, after an hour, Nathan Patterson should have come on the pitch. And that doesn't mean Ashley Young goes off. Ashley Young could have gone to left back. Michalenko could have gone off. And suddenly you've got Patterson giving you something else. And that's going to help out Lindstrom. And then it's going to give a bit more balance to the team because we needed a goal. But he just stood there, and he doesn't understand that side of the game. Another manager would have looked at it and gone, a right back will really help us out here, an attacking right back. We're not defending. So let's put an attacking right back on. Just me sitting here who's not a football manager. That's what I would have done today. But he didn't. He just keeps everything the same, and people wonder why it doesn't change. He is the manager. It's his job to make the team better and make the players better. If he can't do that, then he should not be our manager. Regardless of how good players are or aren't, he improved the players when he first come in. right? That's what he did. Loads of people went, these players are terrible, and I probably said it myself. These players are terrible. We're doomed. Frank Lampard needs to go, and we need to get something else. No one complained then. So I just don't understand how people look at this situation now and go, oh no, it's fine, because no one could get anything out of this. Well, Sean Dyche himself got more out of the group that Frank Lampard couldn't. So now for me, another manager has to come in and try and get more out of this group. And I believe this group are better than they showed today. I think a different kind of manager would look at that today and go, right, take a Dyche guy off straight away. He's not needed. Or take the Corey off straight away. They're not needed. And dropping Jai into the midfield. Okay, he put him onto the number 10, but instead of going, well, we're gonna put on Jai on the right. Well, what about saying the two centre midfielders could have been in Jai and Mangala, and then you go two up front, but now he puts him on the right. Like, other managers think like that. He hasn't got the ability, in my opinion, to do that. He hasn't got it. He's just not good enough. He's not a good enough manager. And we have to sit through it. And the other side of it is, I understand people who believe, and I can understand this, there's a lot of people who believe that we will have enough points at the end of the season and none of this really matters. And all it is just getting to the end of the season. And that's all that matters. And we'll be good enough. But I look at the league table, and the league table doesn't tell me that. The league table doesn't tell me. The league table tells me we've played 12 games and we haven't played Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea. That's what the league table, says we've had a pretty easy start compared to other teams. So there's going to be a huge month now, and I just don't believe that this manager is making the most of these players, and I just find it soul destroying. Going a match today was horrible. Just seen someone in the comments saying £55 to go today, and it's the weather's terrible. It brings everything down, the atmosphere down. You're soaked to the bone. You go in and you watch that, and it's not good enough. And as said loads of times, like, this is the last season at Goodison Park, and this is the dross that we are being served. And of course, I do understand that's because of the level of player. I really do get that. But it just makes me laugh. There's no evidence that Njai's a number 10, and after 35 minutes, he puts him in the number 10 role and then moves him off the number 10 role, 70 minutes. And then he'll say, I used them and it didn't really work. It's just mad. Honestly, it's just mad. Adam on the super chat says, Moyes with Ferguson, assistant. I want it to be like the club again. I hate every aspect of the pitch at the moment. Yeah, I'll get that. And Phil Gaiman, thanks for becoming a member. No, I get that. Yeah. I seen Ashley Young after the game, a quote, and his quote was, "It's 1 loss in 8. We're getting the clean sheets. It's now about getting on the score sheet and winning games." I just like that's it, isn't it? That's Ashley Young. Obviously, is fully on board with the Sean Dyche. He's 14. He's playing in the Premier League. Not that he's doing anything wrong, although, as I said, I think today would have been a perfect game for Nathan Patterson to get on the pitch or play. But this team can't score goals. It's never been able to score goals under this manager. That's because there's a reason, because he's not that type of manager. He's not a manager who sets up to try and attack teams. And it comes back like that. That's if you don't work on those things, patterns of play, and you're just throwing balls into the box, that's what happens. Like, their goalkeeper didn't have one save to make in the second half. I think he had to make one early on. I think it was from Dom. But second half, he hasn't had to make a save. You know, Michalenko's put one over the bar, and Beto's just gone fully 50 pence head. But the goalkeeper hasn't had to make a save. And you can understand why the fans make their feelings known, and I think he said, oh, it was I don't know, what did he say? The fans were worried. There was an element of nervousness. Yeah, because we know what the fixtures look like, and fans are worried. And I tell you what, this idea, and this keeps going through my head. This all I ever hear from people is, "Oh, he'll get his safety." I'm not 100% sure he will get his safety. I'm not really sure he will. You know, because it only takes. We've seen Wolves 4-1 today. You know, they have a home game and then they play us. So, you know, if they win next week at home, that game against Wolves suddenly becomes what it already is, like a 6-pointer. But it's not like, you know, it's not like that there's three absolutely terrible teams. Yeah, Leicester they're losing games, but today it's only 2-1. Ipswich have yet to play this weekend, but they picked up their last win away at Spurs, last game against Spurs. You know, it's not like this. We are one of those poor teams, but I just don't get this idea of like it'll be all right. I don't see where that comes from, because we're playing our part, all in it, because of this like get to the new ground, stay up, get to the new ground. I'm not on board with that at all. I just think that creates a really, really poor sort of expectation of what we are and where we're trying to be. And I find it frankly embarrassing. I find it embarrassing that that's where this football club is at the moment. And we're just waiting for the Freakins coming. It's going to be all right when the Freakin. I mean, I've said this for months and months. I've been saying this for over a year. You can't wait for someone to take over the club, to be proactive. I said this last year when we put like 3 men on the board and just went, yeah, we'll wait till we get a takeover. The club can't be just sitting there, surely, just waiting for something to happen. It just can't. It has a CEO, it has a board, it has people who work there day in and day out. It can't just sit there on its hands. What if Everton were slap bang at the bottom of the table right now? Or what if in a month's time the takeover still hasn't happened and we are just, I don't know, we've had a terrible month and we're at the bottom of the league? What do we still keep just going, no, we've got to wait for this takeover? I just find it. I found that today just garbage. The players, don't get me wrong, the players are not amazing, but you can just tell they're not coached. You can tell they're not coached at all. It's all just go long ball or get it wide. I think that the best move of the day might have been when Tarky done a little drag back, a Cruyff turn around our own box, and then we moved it forward. I think it might have got to McNeil or sorry, it might have got to Njai. And he's hit the defender with a shot. But it's just garbage, and you just watch them and you just think, do these... Sure, a lot of our fans think to themselves or say out loud, what did he do in training? That's got to be... Like, even today, what was mad is we were... Last week or 2 weeks ago, West Ham, we were crying out for McNeil's deliveries, and half of them today he wasn't even on. Like, McNeil... And as for his right foot, oh my God. Like, why wasn't he on the right? When they made the change, why not? Why didn't he put him on the right so he could cut in on his left foot and get into those areas where he can shoot? Because when he's playing on the left and he cuts in onto his left foot, they always just seem to go like wide all the time because he can't get any bend on them. So why didn't we put him on the right? I just find this manager just utterly frustrating in the decisions he makes. I really do. I find them massively frustrating. I don't know. I just want the narrative changed. I just want something to change. Because the game is there. I've never seen a team, by the way, down to 10 men look so comfortable. looks so comfortable. And that's on the players, because where's the desire? Where's the hunger? Why aren't they pressing from the front? That's on the players, which I'll get into now as I do the player ratings themselves. So, Jordan Pickford hasn't had to do a lot today, although I'm sure they had better. I'm pretty sure they had better chances than we had. They had 2 big chances. We had 1 big chance. Their XG was just a little bit less than ours, but we had 27 total shots. In the possession was only 59%. So Jordan, 2 saves, didn't really have to do too much. Although one of them, thinking of that, one of them was at 0-0, wasn't it? And well, it was at 0-0, of course, it was at 0-0. One of them was when they had 11 men, and he made a great save, to be fair, to keep it at 0-0. So don't know whether it would have got called back, but it was a great save. So I would say just for that save alone, I would give Jordan an 8, because he was 1-on-1, wasn't he? It was a massive save. Just remember that now. That was when they had 11 men, so that was pivotal for the point. Ashley Young, listen, Ashley Young didn't do anything wrong today. I would have just liked to have seen. You can just see his heat map there. I just would have liked to have seen Patterson being brought on. And in fact, if I'd brought Patterson on, I would have put him on the left. You can see he got a lot higher today because there was a lot more space to run in. But I would have liked to have seen Nathan Patterson come on at some point and play higher up. He didn't have to do a lot defensively. He had 11 crosses, only 3 of them were accurate. Which big chances created, 1. So he didn't. He didn't have a bad game at all. But as I said, I would have liked to have seen Patterson just introduced, put on that side, and play higher up the pitch, because I think it would have really have helped out whoever was playing wide there. So yeah, I'd give him a 7 for today. Ashley Young, Mykolenko. Again, pretty high, but on this heat map there. But I just think we can do so much better for a left back as well. Again, defensively, he got caught out early on in Boomu going in the inside. Won 4 of his 6 ground duels, 4 of his aerial duels. Crosses 7, accuracy 1. Again, both fullbacks crossing wise, pretty poor. Deliveries pretty poor. Attempted dribbles 1, successful 1. Should have really hit the target when he had an opportunity. But again, I think in both fullbacks, I think we should be doing a lot better. Personally, I think we should have our fullbacks should be doing a lot more. Should be a lot higher. Should be offering more and getting better crosses into the box. So Mykolenko would give a 6.7 for today. James Tarkowski, when they had 11 men, obviously had a lot more to do, and I thought he's done well. Looked up for it. Won a couple of really good headers to make sure we didn't get caught out. Looked dominant as well. Couple of times, making sure he got the header, getting through people. As I mentioned before, nice little Cruyff turn to set us going. And then once they got the man sent off, he didn't really have anything to do other than add a header back to Jordan Pickford or try and start attacks. Won 5 of his 6 aerial duels, so obviously very dominant today in the air. Dribble attempts 1 out of 1. Key passes 3. I mean, him and Jared Brandwaite did not really have to do too much there at all. So Tarky give a 7.5. Jared Brantwaite, couple of wobbly moments early on, giving the ball away a little bit too easy, which allowed them to have possession when really they shouldn't. But once he settled down, actually played some really nice passes, sort of between the midfield into the fullback areas, their fullback areas, to try and set Mykolenko on. Won 2 out of 4 ground duels and 2 out of 4 aerial duels, so 50%. But obviously, we look a lot more balanced. We look a lot better with him. Accurate passes, 93% from 67 touches. Again, we just look better with him in the team, don't we? So, what did I give Toffee? 7.5. So a 7 for Brantwaite. Into midfield, Abdoulaye Doucouré. Again, gets around the pitch, but it's in the final third where we needed him today, and he just didn't offer anything at all, really. He was on the pitch for 72 minutes. Touches, 39. Didn't offer anything. No shots on target, no shots off target. Dribble attempts, none. Ground duels, only won 1 out of 3. Aerial duels, only won 1 out of 2. I didn't think he offered anything today, to be honest. You just see his heat map there. You know, I don't, for a team that was down to opposition, that was down to 10 men, 5 minutes before half time. I just thought most of our midfield, certainly the central players, just didn't do enough. They just didn't do enough for me today. And there's so much onus on them as well to do something. And Doucouré just didn't do anything for me today. Absolutely anything. So I'd give him a 5. Idrissa Gana Gueye a lot more active. You can see there. But the problem was Idrissa Gana Gueye was getting played as like an attacking midfielder today. And you can see the spots there. And they, a lot of that being the second half. Look how much red there is, because he's the one trying to break the opposition down in the final third, and really it shouldn't be him. I know there's not a low, but that's what I'm saying. I probably would have dropped Njai in there and always said, no, you break them down. You play as a centre midfielder. Just kind of get 93 touches, 85% pass accuracy, 4 key passes. He had 1 shot on target, 2 shots off target. And the shot he had on target, actually, I think was the only save their goalkeeper did after making the second half. Dribble attempts, 1 out of 1. Ground duels, 9 out of 12. Was a little bit sloppy at times with his passing. 85% pass accuracy from 93. He was a little bit sloppy, but it didn't really cost us. It's just a pity we didn't have I don't know. I don't know who will play in that role. I don't know who would take that role. Mangala's obviously plays a little bit deeper. I don't know who will play in that role other than Njai. And against 10 men, I think you can get away with Njai in there. So Idrissa Gana Gueye, I'd give a 7.7 for today. 7.7. Yeah, 7.7 for today. I thought he'd done well on the ball. I thought he tried to get through them, but just couldn't. Because that's not his style. I mean, we're talking about someone who did used to play number 10, by the way, for Lille. But then we, through Villa and through us, we converted him into a more defensive player. But that shouldn't really be his role in the team, to try and break down the opposition. I said, that's where you've got to start thinking out the box and go, right, well, they're down to 10 men. Can we put Njai in there? And can he be that player? And then that means we can keep width on both sides and have 2 up front as well. But the manager doesn't think like that. So what can you do? Dwight McNeil obviously started central, but then did go over to the left, to my amazement, considering that what the manager had said on Thursday. So obviously heat map shows he's obviously massively out on the left-hand side. 80 touches, 96% pass accuracy. Key passes, 3. Shots off target, 3. Shots on target, 1. Dribble attempts, 2 out of 4 successful. Yeah, listen, he did all right, but again, it's just like doing the same thing again and again. I'd like to have seen him go over on the right-hand side in the second half, cutting in on that left foot. opening the pitch up a bit, and then you would have someone like Patterson going on the outside of him, creating that space. But again, don't have a manager who thinks like that, so what can you do? So Dwight McNeil, I'll give a 7 to Jesper Lindstrom. He just doesn't try and beat his man ever, does he? Like, he never ever tries to beat his man. I was really disappointed with him today. And again, you look at his heat map there, just round that area, round the edge of the box, but never seems to try and beat a man. Or every time he got to the edge of the box, just plays a simple sideways pass. One dribble attempt. Someone actually tried to convince me that he was fast at the beginning of the season when I said we never got a fast right winger. And someone said to me, oh, he's dead fast. He's dead fast. Like, he's not, is he? He's certainly not fast. Yeah. Again, every time you think, oh, he's got an opportunity, he looks like he might have something about him. He's so underwhelming. He is so underwhelming. No shots on target, one shot off target, and one shot blocked. It's just, dribble attempts, one, non-successful. Just going to see his crosses. Crosses, 5, non-successful. I mean, that's basically like the story of our team, isn't it? Lindstrom, a 4. I thought he was garbage. And Jai obviously started on the left, then moved to the centre, and then moved to the right. Just see his heat map there. I mean, 2 red blobs in our own half. That's crazy. But that's where he tends to pick the ball up and try and start running people. But you can see, all over the box, all around the box. Again, no shots on target, no shots off target. One thing I would say about Jai, start wearing long studs, lad. Start wearing long studs. Dribble attempts, 4 out of 4. Ground duels, 6 out of 7. There you go. Remember the manager said he could defend. You need to be able to defend. 6 out of 7 today. Just trying to see his crosses as well. He doesn't tend to cross that much, but he had 2 crosses and 1 was accurate. Key passes, 4. Tells me that he can definitely play number 10. Definitely play that role. And maybe if the manager had a little bit more patience with him, or had just left him in there and took a midfielder off and put someone else on the right-hand side, maybe McNeil or whatever. I'd have just left him in the number 10 and said, go on, you play high in a split midfield role. But he didn't. He put him on the right-hand side, and it just didn't work then. Just didn't work, him on the right. So I give Njai 7.6 for today. Dom up front. Disappointed with Dom today. 24 touches. Shots on target 2, shots off target 2. I was just really disappointed with Dom in the second half when there was loads of space and loads of opportunities to make a nuisance of himself, and he just didn't. And I was just really disappointed with him, to be honest, on that. You can just see his heat map there. Yes, he's in the box, and that's really good, but I just didn't think he made a nuisance of himself at all. And I was really disappointed by him today. Just didn't think, certainly in the second half, he offered us enough or fought to get into areas to offer us enough. And, maybe I've made excuses for him in the past, but I thought second half today, I thought he was pretty poor. Just didn't think he harried and bustled enough. All the things that why people like Beto, why they like Beto, is I just didn't think he offered enough. And when we went to 2 up front, I just didn't think he worked in tandem with Beto, and there was still loads of time left. So I was pretty disappointed with Dom today when he had an opportunity. So give Dom a 5 today. Mangala came on for the last 18 minutes. And I as I said, I'd have brought him on and just left in Dyche in that number 10 role as a split midfielder, because he'll just sit and protect, and we didn't really need too much going on in there. So when Gala, a 6, didn't really do too much. And Beto had a really good opportunity, didn't he? Shots on target 1, shots off target 2, shot blocked, dribble attempts 1 out of 1. Comes on, makes a nuisance of himself. Had a really good opportunity to header, but put it over. Loads of time, loads of space, and has put it over the bar. But at least he come on and made a bit of a nuisance of himself, which is all anyone really wants, isn't it? From someone coming on. And as I said, I just don't think Dom and him offered enough together. So yeah, Beto, I'd give a 6-2 as well. Adam on the super chat says, is it coming into Mike Walker territory? Maybe. I'm not sure, but maybe. But people just don't see it like that. As I said, when you dumb it down, when you have no expectations for the football club, when you make the football club, when you tell everyone that it's all about staying up, and when you make it all about just survival, then the expectations are really low. Well, when you're down to 10 men, when the opposition are down to 10 men and you've got a half to play, and it ends up finishing 0-0, and the last game was 0-0, and the last game you got beat 1-0 by the team who hadn't won a game, you can understand why a few people are a little bit pissed off with the whole situation. Then I don't know. Listen, if people want to keep saying that these players aren't good enough, does that mean we never sacked the manager, or we shouldn't have sacked Frank Lampard or any other manager ever before? If the players are not good enough, is that the end of it then? Is that is the manager just never ever blameless then? Is that it? The players are not good enough, so the manager can just get away with whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. So that's the end of it. Because I see it completely different. I see it as a set of players who are ready to be challenged. I think there's loads of stuff that could have happened today. I think Patterson could have played at right back, or come on at right back. I think Njai could have played in as a number 10 in a diamond centre midfield with, say, Mangala behind them or Garner behind them, with Dwight on one wing and Harrison on the other wing and 2 centre forwards. You're at home against a team playing against 10 men, and you're not looking to change things. I just don't. I'm never going to look at it from a point of view of, oh, well, that's the best we can do. Ever. Most of them are international footballers. There's a guy sitting on the bench who starts for Belgium. So, excuse me for thinking that I believed he can do better. I do believe he can do better. I just think people are being conditioned by the football club and by the manager into believing that these players can't do better, when I believe they can do better. So, it all just depends on what you want to do. As I said before, the worst thing that happened to the manager today was them going down to 10 men, because that threw him into a situation where a draw for the fans wasn't good enough. Just simply wasn't good enough against, don't forget, a team who hadn't picked up a single point away from home. They hadn't picked up a single point, and we've had a whole half against 10 men, and we still couldn't do what we needed to do. So it doesn't matter if there's been no... is this team better than the team last season? I believe it is. I don't care if there's no investments in the team. This team, to me, is better this season than it was last season. It's as simple as that. And this manager cannot get anything out of him. So you've got to look at it and go, we need to get another manager then. Why does anybody sack the manager then? If it's all on the players, why does any manager get sacked? Why does anyone get sacked then? Just he's a decent man. Just get rid of all the players. All the players. What do we do? Are we gonna just give Sean Dyche a new contract in the summer and go, we're gonna get you a whole new set of players, mate. Don't worry. It's not you, it's them. I have no idea why anyone would bat for this fella. I really don't. If those players aren't good enough, that's because he hasn't made them better. Simple as that. Simple as that. In my eyes, anyway. Every team can be better. Every team can be made better if you try and you work on it. This fella doesn't. He just sticks with the same tactics that get us a point. Oh, we got another point. We're unbeaten. We're unbeaten. We could go 38 games unbeaten and never get more than 40 points. Couldn't we? We could draw every game 0-0. Every single game 0-0. And get 38 points. There you go. Right, I am going. Make sure to check out Baz's videos. Make sure to check out my Galaxy reaction as well. We'll be back on Monday at 1:15 on YouTube, and then we'll be doing the final word on Toffee TV Premier. Thanks for watching. See you later.